Not a problem. I can upload the old video. Same thing. I'll discuss the same thing here and there as well. From now, anyway, I'm recording. I'll upload the both the videos. Okay, the same topic name, because I've already covered plenty. So it doesn't make any sense to repeat the same thing again. Yeah. Okay. So now see, my volume got the junction path. It is not like you need to create a volume and you need to mount it every time. While creating the volume also, you can generate a junction path. I'll show you how. Okay. While creating the volume also, you can get a junction path. You don't need to create a volume and you need to mount it. Two steps are not required. Let me show you. Let me create another volume. This time, while creating itself, I'll get the junction path. Vol2, aggregate name, size, again 10 GB I'm creating. Space guarantee, I want to create a thin volume only. And here we have a concept called junction path. Okay. If you don't remember any option, then what you need to do, just put um, minus, okay, and hit tab so that it will give you all other options which you can provide here. See, there is a thing called junction path. Just backspace and copy it and paste it there. That's it. Okay. Now here also you can mention the junction path /vol2. Okay. Ignore the warning. See, don't need to follow two steps now. You don't need to create and again you don't need to mount it. Okay. While creating itself, you can get a junction path for the volume. Now let's see again. See volume. My second volume got junction path. I don't need to mount it again. Okay. For example, it is not like you need to use the same name as your volume name. For example, here my volume name is vol2, right? It is not like in junction path also you need to mention your volume name. If you want, if you have a requirement, you can use a different name as well. Okay, you can use a different thing. Let me show you how. Okay, so volume create server name. I'm mounting it under svm2 now. Okay, vol3 size 5 GB. Again, space guarantee none, and junction path here. I don't want to use vol3 in my junction path. I want to use a different name /Naveen. Yeah, you can do that. It is not like you need to provide a volume name, same name as a volume name. You can use a different name as well. But whenever you are presenting this volume to clients via NAS protocols, you need to provide the junction path, not volume name. Okay. So whenever you are presenting it, just make sure that you have checked the junction path properly, or else it will throw an error. Okay. We are going to see all those things. Don't worry for now. Okay. And if you take a look at the junction path command, see my vol3 is there. It got created, and junction path of my vol3 is /Naveen. Okay. But normally people don't do that. If you have a specific requirement like that, okay, normally people use volume name only as a junction path. For example, now I have created a this volume with this junction path. Later, I realized that I don't want to put a junction path like this. I want to put the volume name only in junction path so that I'll not get confused. Then do I need to delete and recreate volume again? No, not required. So what you need to do, volume, there is a unmount command as well. Unmount, volume unmount, vserver name, volume name, hit enter, so that your volume will be unmounted from the junction point of vserver, and you will lose the junction path. See, this volume don't have any junction path. Now you can remount it again. Let me try to do that on SVM1. It won't allow us. See, because even you'll be not able to see the wall tree here, because wall tree under SVM2. Okay, if you provide SVM2, then only you'll be able to see wall tree there. Okay, slash wall tree. Okay, any questions, guys? Okay, cool. See, wall tree is there now. But only thing is, you can mount and unmount the volume from the junction point whenever you want. But the thing is, whenever you started copying the data, it is not possible to mount and unmount. Okay, if you unmount it, whatever the data you have copied, you will lose it. That is the reason, once you started, my client started copying the data, then it is not possible to, it is not recommended to unmount and uh, mount it to a different junction path. Okay, so whenever it is empty, you can do that. Until your volume is empty, you can change junction path and whatever you can do whatever you want. But once my client started copying the data, then you you can't change the junction path, because if you change the junction path, like whatever the data the client written to that particular volume, he'll lose access to that. He'll be not able to see that data. Okay, that's why. If you don't have any questions, then yeah, let's proceed further. Next thing is, there is a possibility like you can mount one volume under another volume as well. Okay, it is not like you need to mount everything to the junction point only. You can mount a volume under another volume. Okay, let me create a volume called another volume. Sorry, another volume, SVM2, and I'm creating a volume called wall4. Uh, Size 5 GB, space guarantee none. Okay, and here junction path, what I'm giving is slash wall 3 slash wall 4. That means I'm not mounting my wall 4 directly to the junction point. I'm mounting it under wall 3. Okay, I'm mounting it under wall 3. So nothing like, let's assume that this is my junction point, right? This is my junction point. Now what I'm doing is I have mounted volumes here. Okay, like for example, wall 2, wall 3. Like that, we keep on mounting the volumes under junction point only. There is no problem. But I have a specific requirement where I need to mount it under wall 3, so that whoever have access to wall 3, they'll be able to see wall 4 as well. For example, okay, see, now I have mount my wall 4 under wall 3, so that the person, whoever already have access to wall 3, okay, they can see my wall 4 as well. They can access wall 4 as well. So if you have this kind of requirement, then you can mount one volume under another volume. Generally, we don't do it in real time, but if you want to do that, you can do that. Okay, you can mount one volume under another volume. And one more scenario is, as I told you, we have a limitation on volume size based on your controller model and on-tap version, right? The maximum you can create is 100 TB. Yeah, I think that is the maximum limitation. Okay, single volume will be created with a 100 TB. For example, I have a requirement of 1 TB as I need a single volume. Then I can proceed with the flex group, but I don't want to go in that way. Then what I can do, I'm going to create two volumes. Okay, 100 GB, 100 TB and 150 TB, 100 TB and 150 TB. What I'll do, I'll mount 100 TB to the junction point directly. Okay. And under this 100 TB volume, I'll mount my I'll mount my 50 TB volume. So, and I'll provide access to my client on this 100 TB volume. But still, he can access my 50 TB volume also, which is there under this volume. Okay, but that particular 50 TB volume will be visible here on 100 TB volume as a folder. He can copy only 100 TB of data here, but whenever he want to save that extra 50 TB, he has to store in this particular folder, like which will be visible a volume which is visible like a folder to him. Okay. So yeah, you need to discuss all these things whenever you got these kind of requirements. So based on their inputs, we'll proceed with this. Like if he don't want this kind of thing, he needs a single container and he wants to store wherever he wants, then we'll suggest him flex group only. Okay, like that. Any questions, guys? Now let me execute this. I'm not getting any error because you can mount one volume under another volume. Now, if you check the junction path, see, okay. I'll show you anyway whenever we are presenting it to the clients, right? Whenever I'm accessing, I'll do the same there and I'll show you how it will be visible. The other volume, okay, on under one volume, how the other volume looks like. I'll show you all those things. Any questions on junction point, junction path, namespace? Namespace, nothing to show. Okay, there is a procedure. Okay, cool. Let's talk about a security styles. Whiteboard for a security styles. So there are four types of volume security styles. First one is DFS. Second one is Unix. Third one is mixed. Fourth one is unified. Okay, these are the four types of security styles available to us. So NTFS, like whenever you want to present a volume to Windows client, okay, a Windows server, okay, via CIFS, or we can call it as a SMB protocol. Okay, SMB protocol, then mostly we'll use NTFS security style. If you want to present your volume to a Windows server, then we need to use NTFS. Not only Windows, you can do it for Mac as well. Mac, Apple Mac. Okay. For example, if you want to present your storage to Linux flavored clients, like Red Hat Linux, Ubuntu, okay, Linux or Unix, etc. So many flavors are there in Linux and Unix. Okay, then we need to use Unix security style. Actually, mixed is designed for multi-protocol purpose, but this is not successful. Like people will not use this. Even Netapp also will not recommend you to use this because this will add additional complexity. Okay. Yeah, sometimes it will get things, it will make things complex. That is the reason. It is for both. If you, whenever you want to present it to Windows as well as Linux, it is designed for that. But even Netapp itself will not recommend you to use this security style. Okay, generally in real time, you'll not see this mixed security style, because that is a total failure. Mixed security style is, so people will not use it. Okay. Next thing is unified. Unified is nothing but it is also it is for flex group. Okay, this is for flex group, not for normal flexible volume. So we don't need to worry about this. And again, this is a if you want to present a flex group via CIFS to Windows and to Linux servers as well, then you need to specify this option. Okay, we'll talk about that when we are discussing about a flex group. For now, let's talk about NTFS, Unix, and Mix. Anyway, as I told you, mixed we will not use that, will not touch it. Only NTFS and Unix. NTFS is for Windows and Mac. Unix is for Unix, Linux, and all. Okay, security style you need to pick. So now, so which one I need to pick for my vServer root volume? Actually, it doesn't matter. Okay, because even if you create a vServer with NTFS root volume, you can create volumes on top of that vServer with a NTFS security style, and you can present them to the Windows clients, Mac clients. The same way, even if you created a security style with the NTFS for your vServer root volume, you can create Unix volumes and you can present them to the clients. It doesn't matter. You can create whatever security style you want for root volume of vServer. It doesn't change anything. Only thing is, by default, it will pick that security style. For example, if my root volume style is NTFS, and whenever you are creating volumes on top of that vServer, you are not mentioning any security style there while creating the volume, then it will take the root volume security style for that volume as well. It will create with the same security style. Okay, did you got it? For example, my SVM1 root volume, I created it with NTFS. So whenever I am creating volume on top of a SVM1, so it will take NTFS if I don't mention it. But while creating volume, if I mention like Unix, take Unix, it will create it with a Unix. If I don't mention, then it will take it as a default. I mean, the root volume security style also will be inherited to the other volumes. Okay. So again, there is a question like why why it is why we need to use NTFS only for Windows and Mac? Why it is only Unix for Linux and Unix flavors? Can't we assign NTFS volume to Linux and Unix, or can't we use a Unix security style volume for Windows and Mac? We can do that. Okay, we can do that. But the problem is it will disable folder level permissions. Okay, the problem is it will disable the folder level permissions. Okay, folder, I'll show you what is folder level permissions and all. I'll show you. For example, okay, so these are the files I have in folder, right? Let me see if I have any subfolders. Let me go to C drive. See, I have these folders, right? For example, LOD folder is there. When I go to properties, I'll be able to see a thing called tab called security. Here, I can assign permission to a specific user. Okay, this folder, this particular folder should be only visible to these users. Like I can make some changes. So whoever have access to this folder, they only can open it. Others will be not able to open it. They'll be able to see it, but they'll be not able to open it. When they try to open it, it will throw an error like you don't have permissions to open that. Okay, this is what we'll call it as a user folder level permissions. So this option will be disabled if you use NTFS security style volume to Linux or Unix, and same way if you use Unix security style volume to Windows or Mac, then this kind of features, the folder level permission will be disabled. That is the reason we don't do that. That is the reason we'll use NTFS for Windows and Mac, Unix for Linux and Unix flavored systems. Okay. Any questions, guys? There is a procedure where you want to present only single volume to both Windows and Linux. We'll talk about that in advanced concepts. For now, just ignore that. Okay. I'll tell you like which security style we need to select in that kind of scenario. We'll talk about those things later. Any questions? Okay. Now, along with junction path, let me add security style as well here so that it will display security style as well. See, my volume, all the volumes on SVM1 are creating with NTFS. All the volumes are SVM2 are creating with Unix security style. Why? Because the security style is inheriting from the root volume. Because while creating the volumes, I have not mentioned the security style. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a volume on SVM1 with Unix security style. Yeah, you can do that. It will not create any problems. Okay. Volume, create vserver name, volume name, vol5, aggregate name, size 50G. Okay. Case guarantee, none, junction path, /vol5, you have an option called security style. So in this security style, you need to select either mixed or NTFS or Unix. Now I want to select Unix. Yeah, that's okay. Ignore the warning. Okay. See, now I have created another volume called vol5. And if you take a look at the security style of that volume, as I mentioned Unix while creating it, yeah, it became Unix security style volume. It created a Unix security style volume with this junction path. Okay. The same way you can create a NTFS security style volume under this vserver SVM2. You can do that. Okay. Any questions on security style? Okay. So let's start a different topic now. And one more thing, guys. Sorry, I forgot to discuss about this. Actually, thanks, Krishna, for reminding me. So I told you, right? We are whenever the bad sectors on disk got increased, our disk will be failed. So how to identify a failed disk? So there is a command for to check the failed disk. Disk hyphen container. Sorry. Disk show hyphen container type. Under container type, you need to provide is broken. If you give broken, then it will show you the failed drives. This is the command to check the failed drives, display the failed drives. I forgot to mention it during when we are talking about the disks. Okay. Now, as we don't have any failed drives, let me fail a drive. Okay. Let me pick a drive and fail it. Okay. What I'll do, I'll fail one disk under aggregate. So let's see that disk will be replaced with another disk so that you'll get a chance to see that. See, I'm going to fail 19. Okay. And if you take a look at the spare drives, yeah, I have 20 and 34. And this aggregate is under node 1. So 20 is going to replace this 19. Okay. Now, generally, we don't fail any disks manually. But as I just want to show you these things, I'm failing it manually. but in real time, don't fail any disk manually. Okay, don't do that. So in order to fail the drive, what you need to do, you need to go to advanced mode, disk. There is a command called fail disk ID. And one more thing, guys, don't do that. Okay, disk fail, and there is an option called immediate. If you set immediate to true, then what it will do, it will fail the disk immediately. If you don't set it to true, if you set it to false, then what it will do, it will take that yeah, if it will take that disk into partial failing state, and it will start copying the data to the spare disk, then only fail. Okay, let me do that. Now let me check the aggregate layout again. See, now 1.19 I failed it, so it came to pre-fail state, and copy is in progress. Now data is copying from 1.19 to 1.20. Once everything is copied, then 1.19 will be marked as a failed drive, and it will be removed from the aggregate, and 1.20 will replace that failed drive. But see, generally 1.20 is in spare pool. After this process is completed, you will be not able to see 1.20 in spare pool, because as I told you, right, the disks in the spare pool will also replace the failed drives in the aggregate, right? Let it finish. 36%. It will be done in couple of minutes. After that, we'll see. Okay. Don't use this command. Okay. Fail command. Don't do that. Even though if you fail it, there is a way to unfail, but generally uh, not recommended. Don't do that. 52%. Okay, 96. Let's watch it closely now. See, now I don't see 1.19. Now 1.20 replaced that 1.19. Now aggregate came back to normal state now. See, actually aggregate will be in normal state only. It will not create anything. Now let's run the failed, how to check the fail broken disk command again. Container type broken. It will show you the failed disk here. See, now 1.19 is marked as a failed drive. What you need to do, you need to remove this disk physically and replace it with a new drive. Then whatever the new disk, that will replace the failed drive. Okay, that will enter into spare pool. Again, whenever you replace a failed drive, again that will be in unwound state. What you need to do, you need to provide the ownership, and all those things you need to do it manually. Okay, you need to provide the ownership, then only it will enter into the spare pool of that node. Okay. Yeah, now let me unfail it so that it will go back to spare pool. 1.19 will go to spare pool. Unfail. 1.19. Now it is in spare pool because that is not a failed drive, right? We failed it manually. That's why. Normally, failed drive will throw a warning like even though if you unfail it, it will fail again after few minutes because of high amount of um, damaged chunks or bad chunks, bad sectors. Okay. Yeah. Any questions? Okay. Cool. Thank you. Now let's start another topic called Q-tree. Okay, Q-tree. So what is Q-tree actually? Okay, what is Q-tree? So Q-tree is a special subdirectory which will be created on top of volume. Okay, which will be created on top of volume. So Q-tree is a nothing but it is a kind of a folder. Directory means nothing but folder. Okay, in Unix or Linux language, we'll call folders as directories. Okay, so Q-tree is a folder only which will be created on top of a volume. So how many Q trees can be created on single volume? We can create up to I think 4095. I don't remember the exact value. You can check it in the document. Yeah, you can create these many Q trees on a single volume, not entire cluster or node. Okay, on a single volume, you can create like 4000 plus Q trees. Okay, so what is the purpose of Q-tree? Like I have a volume which is a logical partition. Then why do I need to create a Q-tree again? What is the need of it? So the need is like, for example, I have, let's assume that I have three clients, three servers, server one, server two, and server three, right? S1, S2, S3. Okay, three. Now, server one requested a 10 GB space. Server two requested 20 GB space, and server 3 requested a 70 GB space. So these all are small sizes, right? Okay, and I know that this is for user data, not any application or anything. Okay, this is for normal user data storage, like to share some Excel sheets and all normal data. Okay, so if we start provisioning or start presenting volumes for each and every request, there might be a chance that we might run out of volume count, right? I told you there is a limitation on volume. Per controller, we can create only 1000 volumes in few models and 2000 volumes in few models, right? I told you this. So if we start creating volumes and presenting them for each and every small requirement, we might reach these hard limits, right? Once we reach these hard limits, even though if you have free space on your aggregates and nodes, you'll be not able to create volumes, right? So in order to avoid this, what we are going to do, we are going to create a single volume with 100 GB. Like my total requirement is 100 GB, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a single volume called Vol1. Let's assume that Vol1 with 100 GB of space. And on top of this volume, I'm going to create a Q tree, three Q trees. Q1, Q2, and Q3. Okay. Instead of presenting the volume, what I'm going to do, I'm going to present this Q tree to my client so that he'll save his data in Q tree, not on volume. Okay. inside this Q tree. He'll start, my server 1 will start copying the data inside this Q tree. Server 2 will copy inside this Q tree. Server 3 will copy inside this Q tree called Q3, like that. So here I have used only one volume, but inside that I have created a Q trees, separate Q tree for each server, and they'll start copying their data in Q trees. As we have Q trees, again we have a security. I mean, you can think that okay, we have presented the same volume so that S1 data will be visible to S2 and S3. S2 data will be visible to S1 and S2. No, it is not like that. As we presented separate Q trees for them, only Q1 will be visible to S1 only. Q2 will be visible to S2 and Q3 will be visible to S3. Okay. Others will not be able to see uh, their data. I mean, each other's data. Okay. This is how the Q trees will help us. Any questions? Normally, we'll use Q trees only for user data. Okay, we'll use Q trees for a user data. When you have a user data, this kind of thing requirement, then only we'll use Q trees. We don't use them for applications. Application level data, Netapp will not recommend you to use Q trees. For application, even if it is 1 GB also, we'll present volume only directly. We'll not use Q trees for applications or database. Only for user data, we'll use that. Okay. Just a second. Yeah. Any questions? Okay. Now let's check Q trees. What is the command to create a? Sorry, check. See the existing Q trees. Q tree show. If you then run this command, it will show you the output. See, normally it will display all the volumes, and under volumes, it will also display Q trees. All these are my volumes, and if you see here under Q tree section, I don't see any volume here. It is showing empty. Sorry, any Q tree here. It is showing empty because there are no Q trees. We need to create Q trees. Okay. So again, Q trees also will be having security style. Just like volumes, Q trees also will have security styles. Okay. Just like volumes, NTFS, Unix, mixed, unified, same thing. Now let's create a Q tree. Q tree, create v server name, volume name, Q tree name, Q1, security style, NTFS. For example, if you don't mention security style while creating the Q tree, then the security style will be inherited from volume. Okay. So whatever the volume security style, the same thing will be applied to Q tree as well. And there is an option called opblocks. Let's talk about it a little later. Put policy also not required for now. See, I've created a Q tree. So let me create another Q tree like Q10 something like that, or Q11. And if you run Q tree show command now, see under wall1, it is displaying two Q trees now, Q1 and Q11. See, for only wall1, it is showing me 3. First line, it is displaying only wall1 with empty, and in second line, it is displaying one Q tree with wall1 and another Q tree with wall1, wall11, like that, Q11. Okay. And generally, Q trees also will get a path, junction path. Okay, it will be like, for example, my volume path is /wall1. Let's assume that. Then additional to this slash Q tree name will be added directly. That's it. You don't need to mount Q trees to the junction path. Okay, they'll be automatically mounted to under volume. They'll be automatically mounted under volumes junction path, not volumes junction path. Like that. And same way, Q311 will get like this /vol1/Q11 junction path of volume slash Q3 name. Okay, you can't change that. Just like a volume junction path, we can change it, but Q3's one, we cannot do that. We cannot change it. Okay, any questions on Q3? Okay, now what is opblock? Opblock. There is an option called opblock, right, in Q3. Then what is that option? So generally, whenever we presented a Q3 on any server, whenever you started using it on a server, if you enable opblock mechanism on top of that Q3, then that Q3 will utilize the server cache as well to improve the performance. So as I told you, every computer will have cache, right? Even our laptop also will be having cache like 2 MB or 4 MB or 8 MB based on the your computer configuration. So if you are using a Q3 which is opblock enabled on your laptop, then what that Q3 will do? That Q3 will utilize your computer's cache to improve the performance. How it will improve? So whatever the data you are accessing on top of that Q3, very frequently, that data will be stored in your cache itself directly. Okay, the frequently accessed data and it's the data fingerprint will be saved in your local machine only directly, so that whenever you clicked on that file, it will be respond to you very quickly. Okay, so that is the mechanism. Opblock, when you if you enable opblock, then it will utilize the local cache of your computer, where from wherever you are accessing, it will utilize the local cache of your machine, local machine. Okay, did you got it? Generally, um, by default option, opblock will be enabled on all Q3s, but if you want, you can disable it while creating the Q3, or you can disable it later as well. I mean, enabling or disabling the Q3 opblock option depends on what kind of mechanism, what kind of purpose you are using. So based on that, you have to decide to enable it or disable it. Okay. Any questions on Q3, guys? And one more thing. For example, my volume vol1 is NTFS security style. Can I create a Q3 with Q3 one? Let's assume that Q3 one with different unique security style or mix. Yeah, you can do that. It is not like you need to create a Q3 with the same security style as volume. Okay, you can create a different security style Q3 as well. Any questions on Q3? Okay, cool. Next. Do you want me to stop it for today or shall we continue? It's up to you. Okay. No one responding means I'll proceed. Next topic is quota. Okay, quota. Quota means it is a limitation which we can put on Q3. For example, let's take the same example which we used to describe the Q3. Okay, I have 3 servers. Okay, and this is my S1, this is my S2, and this is my S3. Okay, so my S1 asked for 10 GB, S2 asked for 20 GB, and S3 asked for 70 GB, right? 70 GB. Now I have created a 100 GB volume, wall 1 with a 100 GB size, and I created 3 Q trees on top of it inside the volume. So this is a Q1. Let's assume this is a Q2. This is a Q3. Okay. Now I have presented them to my servers. Okay. So like this. So now my S1 started copying the data, S2 started copying the data, S3 started copying data. So normally in Windows, you guys are using folders, right? So is there any limitation on folder? You can copy this much data? No, right? You can copy as much data as you want in a folder, right? There will be no restriction on folder. Same thing here on Q3 also. We can't, I mean, there will be no size and nothing. I think you might have noticed it already. While creating a Q3, did it ask for any size and all? No, right? No size, nothing on Q3. So Q3s can utilize, Q3s can go for whatever size they want. That means if you start keep on copying the data, they'll keep on growing and they can consume the entire space and volume. Now, according to my requirement, I have provided my S3 has to use 70 GB and S2 has to use 20 GB and S1 10 GB. But what happened is S1 is using 20 GB because, as I told you, on Q3 there is no space limitation, and S2 started using 30 GB. Okay, whenever S3 copied 50 GB of data, whenever he is trying to copy another some more data, he is getting error like us, no space left. He paid for 70 GB and he is getting error after copying 50 GB. That is not fair, right? He'll not agree with that because he paid for 70 GB. He has to get whatever he owned, right? So in order to avoid these kind of extra usages, there is an option called quota. Okay, by using this quota mechanism, we can restrict it. We can restrict the Q tree. We can set a limitation on Q tree. Okay, we can set a limitation on Q tree. So let's see how to do that, and let's see what are the types of quotas actually. Generally, there are three types of quotas. First one is Q tree or tree level quota. Second one is user level quota. Third one is group level quota. Okay, but among these three, most of the people will go with the Q tree or tree level quota only. I'll tell you what are the differences. Okay, tree level quota or Q tree quota. Implement this, what it will do, it will set, okay, size limitation on Q tree. That means what I can do, I have a queue so I can set a quota on top of it. This queue does not exceed more than 10 GB. If I set a queue level quota on top of this queue, then when you copy the 10 GB, we are done. When you try to copy some more data, it will throw an error like quota limit reached. It will not allow you to copy more data. Okay. Once it reached the quota limitation. Okay, that is a queue quota. You can set a limitation how much data it has to copy to that queue like that. You can restrict it. Okay. User quota. User quota means here we'll not set quota on top of a queue. Okay. Here we will set limitation on users. That means, for example, I have a queue, okay, where I provisioned it for a team members, okay, group of people. Okay, okay. So it is provisioned for a team. For example, let's assume that SAN team only, SAN team, our team only. Naveen is part of it, Krishna is part of it, and Akila is part of it. Okay, Amar is part of it. Let's assume that. Okay, 4 members team. Now what I can do, instead of setting a limitation on Q3, it doesn't make any sense, right? To put the limitation on a Q3 level for this requirement, because Q3 cannot expand. Q3 will not take more than that. But what if Naveen started consuming more space than Krishna, Akila, and Amar? This is again not fair, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put restriction on users. So Naveen should occupy only 10 GB. Krishna should occupy only 10 GB. Akila should occupy only 10 GB. Amar should occupy only 10 GB. Like that, I can put restriction on users. That means Naveen can copy only 10 GB of data. If we try to copy more than that, it will not allow. It will throw an error like quota limit reached. Same way with the other users as well. This is what we'll call it as user level quota. This will be implemented on user level, not on the Q-tree level. Okay. Same thing with the group level as well. Group level means nothing but same thing. I have a same Q-tree which is shared with multiple teams. Okay, which is shared with multiple teams. SAN team, Windows team, Linux team, Linux team. Let's assume backup team. Like that, so many teams are there. I've shared it across the same Q-tree. I've shared across multiple teams. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a restriction on group level here. SAN team should occupy only 40 GB. Windows team should occupy only 40 GB. Linux team should occupy only 100 GB. Backup team should occupy only 200 GB. Like that, I can put restriction on group so that the group and the members in that group will be restricted to that space limitation. They cannot copy beyond that. Okay, like that is a group level quota. So again, it is based on your requirement, which quota you need to select. Okay, yeah, that's up to you. So we have already discussed how to create a Q-tree and all. Now let's talk about quotas. So before proceeding with the quotas, I just want to discuss one more thing. Mm, Normally, whatever we are doing so far, we did it through command line, right? CLI, command line interface. But apart from CLI, we do have another way to access our cluster, that is GUI, graphical user interface. So by using GUI also, you can access your cluster and you can modify the configurations, or you can do whatever you want. Whatever you are doing through command line, you can do most of the stuff through GUI as well. But only thing is, not you cannot do everything, but 90%, I guess 85 to 90% you can do it from GUI. Remaining 10% you must log into command line in order to do them. Okay, let's see how to access our cluster through GUI. So generally, what you need to do, just either you need to get the cluster name or cluster management IP. Okay, role cluster management. Okay, so that it will display my cluster management IP. What you need to do is copy this cluster management IP. Okay, put it in a browser like this. Generally, it is giving directly. Normally, HTTPS. Sorry, yeah, colon slash slash forward slash 2 times and paste your cluster management IP and hit enter. That's it. It will show you some warning. Go to advanced and click on proceed. That's it. It will take you to a page where it will ask you for the login, username and password, where you can enter your admin username and same password which you are using for cluster login in through command line. Can you enter the same username and password? So it will take you to a GUI. So normally this GUI tool, we'll call it as system manager. Okay, system manager. The full name is on command system manager. That is the old name actually. Now they have changed the name to active IQ manager. Okay, on command system manager is an old name and active IQ infed manager is a new name. This is a full name actually, but generally people will call it as a system manager. Okay, and one more thing, guys, to data on tab 8.2, this system manager is a downloadable tool. What you need to do, you need to download it from the support site, Netapp site, and you have to install it in server or your laptop. Okay, and then you need to add your clusters to system manager. Okay, this is how you need to do from up to 8.2. But what they have done is from data on tab 8.3 onwards. Okay, they have added system manager. They integrated with data on tap only directly. Data on tap directly. That means you don't need to download or install the system manager. What you need to do, just enter the cluster management IP in a browser with HTTP or HTTPS format. That's it. It will take you to the system manager directly because it is already there inbuilt with ONTAP. So you don't need to install and you don't need to do anything. You can access it from anywhere just with the putting the IP address in the browser. That's it. Okay. They might ask you in this question as well. One of the interview, they have asked this question in to my student. What is the difference in ONTAP versions with respect to system manager 8 in data ONTAP 8.2 and later versions? Up to data ONTAP 8.2, there is no system manager is not built in with data ONTAP. You need to download it as a separate software and you need to install it and you have to add the clusters. But from 8.3 onwards, it is integrated with ONTAP image. So you don't need to download anything or install anything. Just put the cluster management IP, it will take you to the system manager. I think you have already observed it. We have not installed anything. We just entered the IP. It took us to System Manager. So this is a GUI tool. From here, you'll be able to manage everything. See here, these are my nodes. This is my shelves. Generally, it will give you more overview. As this is a lab, it is showing a Simbox, but here it will show you model number and all the details. Okay, and it will show you how much capacity you have, how much used, so many things it will show you. It will show you the network architecture, how your network is designed, how many Ethernet ports you have, how many FC ports you have, how many volumes you have created, like that, how many SVMs are there, everything it will show you. Okay. Yeah. Any questions? Okay, let's stop it for today. Anyway, it's already 10:22. I will talk about a system manager tomorrow, and also I'll show you how to create a quota and all tomorrow itself. Okay. Thank you guys. Have a nice day.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.